The 40-carat light blue Stuart diamond has made its triumphant return within the Stuart tiara for just the second time in the last several decades. It is so exciting to see the wonderful state visit between Spain and the Netherlands and to see all the ladies put on some of their best tiara displays for us, especially Queen Maxima, who gets the ultimate crown with the ultimate crown, which is the Stuart tiara with the Stuart diamond on top. We got for the first time, really, I felt like a really good feel for the blue in it because unfortunately, when Maxima wore this tiara for the first time in the UK, because of how the Brits do things, they have a very closed off state banquet session. You didn't get a lot of great pictures, so it was really hard to pick out the blue. But she blessed us this time with an amazing appearance by the full Stuart tiara. So, guys, welcome to today's Tiara Thursday, not usually Tiara Tuesday. And we are going to talk about all the ladies' looks from this official state visit, which was yesterday. It was just so amazing to see all of them in some of their best. And I was going to combine both this state event and the state visit between Belgium and Luxembourg. But as I was thinking about how to title things and everything, I thought it was just best just to go with this one. And I'll probably do a separate video for the Belgian and Luxembourg state visit as well, because we just have so much to talk about with this one. Because, like I said, this is all about diamonds. And if you love diamonds, I have a relationship with Ana Lucia Diamonds. So if you love some of my jewelry and everything, I will have a link down below for you because I absolutely love watching these videos and loving watching the diamonds sparkle. And I feel like I need more sparkle in my life. So Ana Lucia gives that to me. So if you guys are interested in that, if you use the link Royal20, you will save 20% off your purchase. Okay, so let's begin. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you definitely should because we love talking about diamonds and tiaras here along with a lot of royal fashion. So I would love to have you back. So our first person we're going to talk about, of course, is the ultimate queen, and that is Queen Maxima. She wears a tiara better than just about anybody else. And of course, I was just so excited that she decided to do the full Stuart. And I will have to say, though, I was a bit disappointed because I had debated actually traveling to the Netherlands to cover this state visit. And I decided not to because the flights were kind of pricey and it was going to be just a short, like a couple of days. And I was like, is it really worth it to fly over there for just 2 days for just one event? Some events that's worthwhile, but sometimes it's like I want to do a bunch of different things within one time to make it really worth the travel. So I didn't. But now I am so bummed because she did decide to bust out the full Stuart with the Stuart diamond. And I just did a whole video on this. I actually have 2 videos I've done on the Stuart because I love it so much. And so if you guys are interested in that, I will put a link up above here, some down below as well, if you want to check out those videos where I discuss all of it. But just to give you just a brief breakdown, the light blue diamond at the top of it is 39.75 carats. It is a light blue stone. It was initially cut in the 1600s, and it was initially purchased by Prince William of Orange, who eventually became King William of England, and his wife, Queen Mary. He took over the throne from his father-in-law, James II, who was Catholic and trying to turn the country back Catholic. But of course, this was after the Protestant Revolution, and everybody's like, no, we're still Protestant here. So he ended up being deposed. His daughter and her husband were brought in. And so there was actually even a legal battle over this stone. All that to say, it was created into a tiara over 100 years ago, and now it sits firmly within the Dutch vaults. But we didn't see it for a couple of decades after the death and after Queen Juliana abdicated the throne. And the reason is that Queen Beatrix, or now Princess Beatrix as she is known, didn't really like the weight of it because it's a very hefty tiara. And as a reminder, tiaras are made up of diamonds, usually gemstones of some sort, ergo they are heavy. They are heavy. And this one is probably one of the heavier ones. And so I'm just so excited we got to see this one again, especially because we got a lot of better pictures. Because if you don't follow royals too closely, the Brits do something quite different than the rest of the royal families because the Brits have a very closed state banquet session. So oftentimes we don't even get good shots of Catherine there. And it's very different when it comes to the other royals because they show everyone. There's a lot more press that is able to attend compared to what the British do. And so you just get a very different feeling. And so it was just so nice to see the Stuart in its full glory and really get a clear visual of the stone. And I've got to say, I absolutely love Maxima's dress. The designer, his first name is Jan. I can't say his last name. or I'll probably butcher it, but he designed her inauguration outfit. So when King Wilhelm Alexander, her husband, became king, they called it inauguration, not a coronation, because there was no religious component. And so when he was inaugurated, she wore his designs. And actually, one of my absolute favorite gowns of Maxima's ever was designed by him. And I particularly love her wearing it with the cape. It is magnificent with the cape. It's just so grand, so lovely, so amazing. And one of my, I would say probably my second favorite gown, probably of a royal ever, because that one's my first. The second one is probably another one that he designed. And so I really love his designs on her. I think the light blue here is perfect. And the placement of the brooch, the stomacher, which is part of the whole look, it's actually part of the whole House Diamonds suite. So that includes a necklace, that includes that brooch and the Stuart tiara itself. And it looks perfectly placed. It really adds a great accent to the dress. It doesn't distract from it, it adds to it, which is fabulous. And I thought she looked absolutely amazing. Large diamond earrings. I won't talk too much about the history of the diamond and the tiara because we went into that just a couple weeks ago. But I was surprised by this because I was not expecting the Stuart. I was so totally not expecting this story. And so it was just such a lovely surprise. She looked amazing in it. And she probably did it because of the close relationship between the two countries, as they mentioned during the state banquet. Catherine Amalia, the Princess of Orange, the future Queen of the Netherlands, actually spent the last year or so in Spain after there were threats against her life while she was attending university in Amsterdam. And so they are quite close. Maxima and Wilhelm actually met in Spain. So there's a great Spanish connection with them. And so they like to represent that quite frequently. So it is reflected in the tiara that she brought out to this event because oftentimes the ladies choose the tiaras that best reflect the event. So there's a historical connection, there is maybe a family connection, or it's just a great reflection of the strong relationship between them that they actually bring out their best diamonds. And that's what definitely we had in this situation. And so next we are going to talk about is Princess Catherine Amalia. And so she's the future queen of the Netherlands. She currently holds the title right now, Princess of Orange. And this was her first state banquet. And I thought she did a fabulous job. And so what she wore is the ruby peacock tiara. And this tiara has a bit of an interesting history. So it was initially a brooch, tiara, and a necklace, and then later earrings and bracelets were added later. And so it was made by Sherman during the reign of Queen Wilhelmina in 1897. And this is the second time Amalia's worn it. I think somebody else said maybe the third time. I think she might have worn it to sort of a more private wedding event. She wore it for the first time that we're aware of to the wedding of Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan. That was last year. And so this is her second time. The rubies are from Queen Sophie. The central peacock element is detachable. And here's where the history gets kind of interesting because this tiara wasn't part of the family's foundation. What a lot of royals have done is put their tiaras in foundations or trusts. Well, not just tiaras, but all their jewelry. And that is because as people pass away, oftentimes they leave their jewelry to different people. And what happens is that oftentimes those people can't pay the taxes on it, or the next generation can't pay the taxes on it. And they end up selling it. And so the family loses track of that particular tiara. And so this tiara wasn't part of it. And it was actually given to Princess Irene by Queen Juliana. So Princess Irene is the one who actually owned it for many years, and she wore it quite frequently, and she would wear the detachable peacock part of the tiara. Some people had found pictures of that, and I find that always so helpful. I'm so amazed at people who find these very, very old pictures because I try to find them through other resources and I just can't seem to. And so it also had a necklace. And actually, when I was first sort of getting aware of the peacock and some of the tiaras within the various collections, some people thought, because they look very, very similar, when Maxima originally wore the peacock necklace, that she was actually wearing the tiara, which had been detached from its frame and then reframed as a necklace. But no, they are actually two different elements. And so she's wearing that under the cape of her gown. And obviously, you could fuss a little bit about that. It would be nicer if maybe the necklace was over, or maybe the necklace wasn't there and the cape was there. Maybe she was hoping she wouldn't have to wear the cape, but she decided she needed to wear the cape. I don't know, but you still got the shine and the sparkle from it. So I'm not going to complain too much. And so the necklace can also be adjusted and you can remove various elements of it. So it makes it more versatile. And so it wasn't seen for about 40 years though, until Maxima brought it back. And it seems to be that The tiara and the necklace some of the bracelets, I believe, as well, have all made their way back into the main Dutch collection. So we don't know if they were sold to the main line. We don't know if there was some sort of agreement that was made, but it made its way back into the main Dutch line, although the earrings still reside with Princess Irene's family. So there are some elements where it's still with Princess Irene's family, but the main elements they did put back into the family, which is so important. And actually, Queen Juliana actually wore the necklace for her inauguration. So for becoming queen, she actually wore the peacock necklace, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. And so for those wondering what the differences are, this is from the court jeweler. The necklace and tiara are very similar in design and have expressed that it's difficult to tell them apart. Here's the easiest way. In the peacock tail portion of the design of the tiara, the top stones are diamonds. In the necklace, the end tail, which faces towards the wearer's toes, is set with rubies. So if you're curious how to tell them apart, that is the way to do it. I thought Catherine Amalia looked absolutely lovely. Obviously, this is a big occasion for her. And again, you could fuss a bit about the cape, and the cape's not perfect because I would prefer her without the cape. But I do like that it was sheer, and I did think that if it was done for her comfort or whatever, totally fine. And we still got to see quite a bit of the necklace, thankfully. And I thought pairing rubies with a deep blue dress was a great color combination. And she is very fond of tiaras and the history of the jewelry within the family. So I'm looking forward to her playing with the collection even more and maybe having as much fun as her great aunt did, taking off that central peacock element, like really having fun. That's what I see a lot of the other royals do that I feel like the Brits especially don't do quite as much as you have the Swedes, you have the Dutch that can be very, very playful with their tiaras and try to use them in different ways. Actually, even the peacock can sit on top of your forehead. So that's very much a bandeau style that you would see maybe in the 1920s. We've seen it worn that way as well. And so, if you are wondering, Beatrix, the former queen, who is now goes by Princess Beatrix, wore the Dutch diamond bandeau tiara, which is probably one of the lightest within their collections. If you want more on that, I will link the whole video on that and the Stuart tiara here up above. And Princess Margaret, who is the sister of Princess Beatrix, wore the Dutch laurel wreath tiara. So I didn't really do a deep dive on that one, but maybe we'll do that at some point because now we need to get on to Queen Letizia of Spain. And what was interesting about her is that she sat for quite a bit of it. So she sat during the reception line. So that's when people come and they get to greet their majesties. And then she also was already seated or at the table before her husband King Philippe and then King Wilhelm Alexander and Queen Maxima all came in. Usually the royals would all come in the procession together. So it seems like she's having a lot of issues with her feet. That is reportedly why she was sitting and why she was probably already at the table. But obviously, that's a little bit concerning. And she is wearing second skin coat dress. So this was found by Letizia Royal Fashion Look. It's really hard to get the full look of the dress because sitting, it seems to swamp her. And she has a very petite frame. She's relatively tall, like 5'7", but she's very, very tiny. So it looks like to me that the color was magnificent. It just looks like it very much overwhelmed her frame, but we couldn't really see her in it either. So it's just sort of kind of hard to tell. But she did look wonderful and amazing in it. She was wearing, let's start off with the earrings, because we see these actually on her quite frequently. They were designed by Queen Edna and are given from basically queen to queen. And so she received them, Queen Edna, from her husband, King Alfonso, and they are part of what they call the Joyas al Pasar. And so the royal family was deposed by Francisco Franco, who became the dictator of Spain after the Spanish Civil War. And so the tiara and some of the jewelry made its way outside the family just because they were in exile. They had to generate funds, and sometimes diamonds and jewelry are the way to do that. And this specific Spanish diamond loop tiara was part of that. And so it was made for Maria Cristina with diamonds, pearls, and platinum. And so it went outside the main line of the family for a while. And then it was eventually brought back in the early 2000s, which is fantastic because sometimes this instability does lead to tiaras getting outside the main family, and it made its way back in, which was fabulous, and was worn by Queen Sofia. So that is the mother-in-law of Queen Letizia of Spain. And I did ask you guys who you thought the best look of the evening was in terms of tiaras, and you guys actually went with Queen Letizia's tiara, which surprised me. 50%. There were over 700 votes. And I so thought it would be Maxima, but maybe I'm just a Queen Maxima stan. And so I always wanted to be Maxima. But I'm so excited you guys chose Letizia. I would love to have seen her look a bit more. But guys, it was a fantastic event. We shall do the Belgian and Luxembourg state visit here very, very soon because that was lovely as well. But lots of jewelry and diamonds brought out for this very special state visit. So, guys, thank you for watching, and I shall see you soon. Bye.
We don't count the carats, we count the centuries.